Rogers Stadium in Toronto. This venue has generated quite a bit of publicity and already has a growing divisive reputation. But is that reputation earned? In this video, we are going to dive deep into everything you need to know before you go to a concert at Rogers Stadium. Let's get into it. First things first, Rogers Stadium and Rogers Center are not the same thing. Many people have gotten those two confused, including me when I bought my tickets for a couple concerts there. Rogers Center is the home of the Toronto Blue Jays and is located in downtown Toronto. Rogers Stadium, on the other hand, is north of downtown Toronto at the site of the former Downsview Airport. Now that we know those two are different, let's talk a bit more about the location of Rogers Stadium. The stadium is located north of the 401 and the Yorkdale Shopping Center, and to the east of Downsview Park. The majority of the area around it is mostly a residential area with small pockets of businesses mixed in. Getting to the station can be a little tricky because of the location. Driving to the stadium, there is very little parking around the area. Traffic can also be very heavy around the stadium, so if you're going to drive to the stadium, you want to get there super early as there's barely any parking. If you are planning to use rideshare, there is a designated pickup and drop-off area. It can be hit or miss for how busy it is, depending on when you arrive. Afterwards, the rideshare area gets very busy, and the rides can be pretty expensive. Your best bet for getting to the stadium is to use public transit, either GO Transit or the TTC. There are 3 stations around the venue: Downsview, Shepherd West, and Wilson. The TTC runs through all 3 stations, with the GO train running through Downsview as well. Downsview is probably the closest, with around a 10 to 15 minute walk. Shepherd is around a 20-minute walk, with Wilson being the farthest away at around 30 minutes. After the concert, your ride home on the GO train or TTC will be free. The ride to the venue you still have to pay, however. The trains heading south to Union Station after the concert are busier than the ones heading north. Here's what I did. I parked at Pioneer Village Station. Parking in the afternoon after 3 p.m. is $2, and if you have a weekend show, parking at Pioneer Village is free. I parked by the north entrance of Pioneer, and there are over 1,000 parking spaces, so you shouldn't really have to worry about finding a spot too much. You can pay for parking either at one of the kiosks or online, then head into the station. After walking into the station, you can head down the escalator towards the subway. You can pay for your ride to Rogers Stadium either with a Presto app, Presto card, or print out a single serve pass. The ride will cost you $3.35. The ride from Pioneer to Downsview takes around 8 to 9 minutes, with trains running every 5 to 6 minutes usually. Once you get to Downsview Station, take the stairs up and follow the herd of people. Once you get above ground, there are signs and people directing you towards the stadium, and you'll also be able to see it off in the distance. The walk there isn't too bad. It isn't a huge hill or anything. There might be a slight incline, but overall, not too bad of a walk. When you get to the venue, the entrance is pretty organized. There wasn't too much of a line or anything. If you get to the stadium closer to showtime, the line to enter might be a little longer, but overall it still moves pretty quick. Once you get inside the stadium grounds, it gives off a very festival-like vibes. There's nothing too fancy when it comes to food and drink options though. Mostly just your stadium standard and sort of event food and drinks, nothing really too fancy. I optioned to go with the chicken fingers and fries, which is around $16, I think. For drinks, they let you bring in your own water bottle to refill at the water stations. It just can't be glass or metal. There are also plenty of water stations around the stadium to refill your bottle. I would avoid the Brita branded ones personally. They had longer wait times and the water really wasn't that cold as the ones that were just unbranded. For bathrooms, they're located on the sides of the venue. They're basically just glorified portable bathrooms, porta potties, basically just portable bathrooms with sinks next to them. There are a couple of merchandise stations at the venue if you want to get some merch. The main one is in the center of the grounds. If you enter gate 1, walk straight and you can't miss it. There are a couple of smaller ones too, right outside the north sections of the seating area. Those ones have a bit smaller selection, but the lines are much shorter than the main merch station. As I've mentioned before, the stadium gives off sort of festival vibes, more so than like a traditional concert. There's tons of businesses, live music, and different events to kill time before your show starts. Heck, There's even a Ferris wheel. As far as the stadium itself and the seating goes, it's designed to be a temporary venue. Calling it a stadium might be a bit of a stretch. It really is just a bunch of bleachers and a stage and a giant field. If you want to be in the shade, being in the northwest corners area is your best bet. Those sections gain the most shade as the day turns into night, and the shade will gradually expand the most in those areas. If you're on the east sections, you'll probably be in the sun most of the time until sunset. The sun can be pretty brutal, especially on a hot day, so I'd try to hang out outside the seating area in the stadium grounds to stay cool. For the concert itself, the sound quality was pretty good. I was at the third night of Coldplay, and the sounds and the visuals were great. Hopefully for other artists, they're going to be great as well. Once your concert ends, it is time to go home, unfortunately. Depending on where you are headed, there are a couple different recommendations and options I'd recommend. I was heading north on the TTC after the concert, and here's what I did. I walked to the Shepherd West station. It is a bit farther walk than Downsview, but there are also less people heading that way. It's around a 20 or so minute walk, depending on where your seats are in the stadium and how fast you walk. Your rides home after the concert on the GO train or TTC, as I mentioned before, are free for the 2025 concert season. To go to Shepherd West, on your way out, exit through Gate 2 and stay to the right once you're outside the stadium, which will put you right on the path to Shepherd West. When you get to Shepherd West, follow the stairs or escalator down and you'll reach the subways. If you're going north, your train will be on the right. If you're heading south to downtown Toronto and Union Station, your train will be on the left. Trains come around every 5 to 6, maybe 7 minutes or so. If you're heading north like I was, Shepherd West is a great stop to get on because the majority of people are going to be getting on at Downsview, and you'll already have a spot on the train when it makes a stop at Downsview Station, which will be packed after the show. If you're heading south, however, you may want to get on at Downsview. This is because if you're getting on at Shepherd West instead of Downsview, the train is already going to be packed from all the people that got on at Downsview. It's going to make a tight squeeze. They do a good job, however, of making sure that people aren't flooding Downsview Station all at once. They kind of spread them out and sort of stagger them. You can also take the GO train after the show to go either north or south. Unless it is close to where you live or have to take it for a certain reason, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, especially heading north. The last northbound train leaves around 11:13. If your show ends around 11, you'll be cutting it pretty close. And the downside is there's only one northbound train after the show. They may delay the GO train departure times, but for Coldplay concerts, I don't think they did. If you're heading south, there are 3 southbound trains to Union, with the last being 11:55. If you miss your GO train, you're kind of put in a tough spot, as they don't run as late as the TTC does, which runs till around 1 a.m. or so. If you're heading south to Union, you can take the TTC at Downsview, Shepherd West, or Wilson. If you get on at Downsview, it'll be the busiest station. When you do get on the train, it'll usually be pretty empty. However, if you get on the TTC South at Shepherd West or Wilson, the trains are likely to be pretty packed and space might be at a premium. If you go to Downsview to catch a ride home, they stagger the groups out so there aren't tens of thousands of people at the station at the same time. It's been referred to as the biggest game of red light, green light, basically. And of course, there are rideshare options available after the show also. But space is limited and traffic can be pretty congested, and the rideshare prices are pretty expensive to and from the stadium. And there you have it, a complete guide to what you need to know for a concert at Rogers Stadium. The stadium has gotten quite a reputation already, especially since it's such a new venue. With proper planning and information ahead of time, you can make the most of your visit to Rogers Stadium. I don't think it was as bad as some people were saying, but I can understand why some people may not have had such a great experience. Overall, I had a good experience at the stadium and will go to another event there. If you've been to Rogers Stadium, let me know in the comments below what you think of it and what your experience was. If I've missed anything or you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more venue guides and experiences, and I'll see you in the next one.